Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Sun.
Last night, Jacob Faria made a dazzling debut, tossing 6 in the third innings, allowing just 1 run en route to his first big league victory. Tonight, another right-hander with a devastating split changeup goes to the hill as Jake Odorizzi looks to lead the Rays to a series victory over the White Sox. Tonight at Tropicana Field, the homestand continues with a little Thursday night baseball. The Rays and the White Sox go at it, wrapping up this 3-game series. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Good to have you aboard tonight. Alex Cordry along in just a bit. Well, the Rays are looking for a series win, picking up a victory last night with Jacob Faria pitching so well. And tonight, they will send Jake Odorizzi to the hill, and he has pitched very well, particularly here at home.
Yeah, Dwayne, and I'm going to tell you something. When you look at Jake Odorizzi, I can't confirm this. I'd like to think, though, it's the neighborhood that he lives in. But regardless, he's absolutely thrown the ball well here at Tropicana Field. And I'll tell you, it's nothing new because over the course of his career, his ERA here at home is more than a run better than it is on the road. This year, even more than that, up over a run and a half in the same number of starts. You see 5 starts, record 2-2, but the ERA 2.90. This is a building, though, that you earn everything that you get, and you talk about the long ball. And Jake Odorizzi, with that elevated fastball, gets a lot of pop-ups, fly balls, and plays well, plays to his strengths.
Rays will face a lefty tonight. Derek Holland, used to seeing him in a Texas uniform, first year with the White Sox. So it'll be Odorizzi looking for his 4th win, and Derek Holland 4-5 on the hill for the Chicago White Sox. Alex Colomé, dominant, and that is what he does night in and night out. Closed out the ball game last night. Alex Cordry has more on the excellent performance of Colomé when we come back.
Fox Sports son, Jacob Faria, became the 8th pitcher in Rays history to win his Major League debut as a starter on Wednesday night. And thanks to closer Alex Colomé, the Rays continue to be set at the back end. Yesterday, he pitched a scoreless 9th, and he picked up his 16th save. For tonight's Toyota Inside Look, since May, Alex Colomé has pretty much been dominant. You can see that he has been a lockdown closer with a 1.17 ERA in 15 appearances. He's converted all 11 save chances and has a 1.42 ERA in save situations. Third in the majors after recording his 16th save last night, Colomé continues to be one of the game's elite closers.
He doesn't get a lot of attention because when he comes in the game, it's pretty 1, 2, 3, pretty quiet. There's not much excitement because he shuts down whatever's going on for the opposing team. But he's been tremendous for us, and he should be getting a lot of attention because what he's done for our club this year, what he did for our club last year, he's helping us win a lot of ball games.
Well, Chicago's Derek Holland will try to slow down the dangerous top of the order for the Rays as Jake Odorizzi looks to bounce back from his last outing. Rays and White Sox series finale when we return on Fox Sports Sun.
Odorizzi goes to the hill, searching for his 4th win in an attempt to pitch the Rays to a series victory. The Rays on the winning side of the ledger here to finish off the first series on this homestand. They have Oakland in for 4, including the Saturday doubleheader. But tonight, the Chicago White Sox providing the opposition. Let's take a look at the starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Adam Engel's going to lead it off. He'll be in center field for the White Sox, followed by the DH Melky Cabrera, Jose Abreu third, then Avisail Garcia, Todd Frazier, and Tim Anderson. Yolmer Sanchez hits 7th. Kevin Smith hits 8th. Willie Garcia in left batting 9th.
Well, like we talked about in the open, keep it rolling here at home. Jake Odorizzi very good in this building as you look at his season numbers, making his 11th start. But that 290 earned run average at Tropicana Field here in 2017 bodes well for the Rays here tonight.
First pitch of this game is a fastball upstairs, so we are underway at 7:10 tonight, right on time. Engel with just 11 at bats, and now 12 with a base hit. That gives him 3 for 12 and a leadoff single for the Chicago center fielder.
What almost looked like Engel there was anticipating a fastball up in the zone. We know Jake Odorizzi makes a living on that pitch, but he did a good job of getting on top of it and hammering it in the hole. As we take a look at the Rays defense, brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield left to right, Peter Borges returns along with Kevin Kiermaier and Steven Souza Jr. And across that infield third to first, Evan Longoria, Tim Beckham, Daniel Robertson, and Logan Morrison, with Derek Norris back behind the plate.
Melky Cabrera hitting from the left side, the DH. Pitch is upstairs. Rizzi trying to recover from that start last Friday in Seattle, when he gave up 8 runs, 3 earned in 2 1/3 innings. That's a strike. It's 1-1. Well, both these pitchers tonight have Adam Hamari behind the plate, a young umpire, and his trend is to turn more balls out of the zone into strikes than the other way around. So he will give a pitcher a break if you're consistent enough around that plate.
Well, and if that holds true, then you would expect these hitters to be up there, ready to swing the bat. You know a guy's up there going to start calling strikes, and if he does do that, then you'll see the hitters get more and more aggressive.
1 on, nobody out, 2-1 count. Foul back, that's out of play to square the count. Jose Abreu, the first baseman, is on deck. Jake 2-2 at home with a 2.90 ERA. 4.5 earned run average on the road with a 1-1 mark. And Cabrera lays off that pitch.
Yeah, not an easy pitch to lay off of. Jake Odorizzi, he likes to play that top bottom game with the elevated heaters, the split changeup below the zone, and that was a very good take there by Melky Cabrera.
Over to first, and a quick move back in head first. Engel.
Yeah, that was very quick. Jake, quick feet and a quick arm right there. Didn't waste any movement, any time, made it close.
We've seen him pick some base runners off before. Nobody yet this year, but he has that capability as part of his game. Runner goes now, and the pitch is foul right back into the screen. White Sox have not been all that successful running. They have 20 stolen bases, 12th in the American League, but they've been caught 17 times.
Yeah, not much better than a coin flip. But Rick Renteria, this team has lost 6 of their last 7 games, trying to get things started, put some guys in motion, trying to somehow jumpstart this offense.
Giving up a base hit to Engel. Earl Boston, the first base coach over there. And another foul ball out of play. Cabrera has more at bats than anybody else in this White Sox lineup against Odorizzi. 12 career at bats. He's 3 for 12 against him. The 8th pitch of this at bat. Runner goes, swing and a miss. Throw's going to one-hop in and wound up right on the bag, but so did Engel. and the call is safe. So a strikeout of Cabrera and steal number 2 for Engel.
Was able to lay off the split change earlier in the at bat, not this one. Over the plate, down and in. You get the swing and a miss, and then Derek Norris, 2 hops. He got it right to the spot. Engel had a pretty good jump.
Engel, guy who in the minor leagues has had some outstanding stolen base seasons, including 65 at Winston-Salem 2 years ago. First pitch to Abreu is down. Hitting .278, 32 runs batted in. He had 1 last night and 1 here the first game in Tuesday night. High fly ball into right. Souza Jr. will go back. He'll make the catch. Tag at second. Engel's going to head to third, and he moves up essentially without a play. So a man at third with 2 gone.
Able to crowd Abreu just enough. Who he has a ton of power. Rays are very well aware of that.
Right fielder, number 26,
Cut through the heart of the Chicago White Sox lineup, you've got some trouble. Abreu, the capabilities there. Garcia having a tremendous season, as you can see by those numbers. And then, of course, Todd Frazier, who we saw go out to dead center field here in the first game of this series. So there's trouble that lurks in the middle of this lineup.
Garcia 4th in the league in average, and the top 10 in runs batted in, top 10 in slugging percentage. Ground ball third. Longoria has this one, throw to first in time to get Garcia. Man left at third. They do not score. Steven Souza Jr. is going to lead it off when the Rays come in to hit in the bottom of the first. The first inning against the Chicago White Sox. Take a look at their lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Souza Jr. to lead it off, then Corey Dickerson, the DH, Evan Longoria hitting third, Logan Morrison, Tim Beckham, and Kevin Kiermaier right down the middle. Daniel Robertson in the 7th spot in front of Derek Norris, and hitting 9th in left field tonight, Peter Borges, who has just been activated off the DL.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Chicago White Sox, left-hander Derek Holland making his 12th start of the season. The record 4-5 ERA, 3.43, 63 innings of work.
So Steven Souza Jr. takes that first pitch, and it's just a little bit high. and off the mitt of the catcher Kevin Smith. Two and 0. One extreme to the other here for Holland on these first two pitches.
That right there is miss with the first one. Okay, need to make the adjustment, and you over adjust. Try to find the happy medium, and you're going to see Souza Jr. take a big swing.
Swings and pops it into shallow right. Abreu's out there. Garcia coming on, and he makes the catch. A little less than steady, as it turns out. But he holds on to the ball and makes that catch on that high pop fly.
Boy, that was such a tough angle for Abreu. And Garcia had to come a long way. And right here, little indecision, and at the very end, he's able to recover and make that catch before going down. These right there, those are testers. With this roof and as much ground as you have to cover, Abreu coming at you.
Yeah, and you really felt that if Garcia didn't get there to make that play, it was going to be very tough for Abreu. So one away. Now Corey Dickerson. Corey, the DH for the Rays, fouls this pitch back. Third leading hitter in the American League. Dickerson batting .336.
And actually hitting even better than that against lefties.
How about that?
It's pretty remarkable. Speaks to the approach, the fact that he stays in on lefties. He doesn't bail or give any ground.
That's the impressive thing about him against left-handed pitching. Cold hard facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. And you see, pick a category, and if he's not leading it, he's going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, the extra base hits on top of the hits and the average, so you're doing it with damage. Get a lot of doubles. He's double digits in home runs. He's about as well-rounded as you can be. Does a good job hitting with 2 strikes. Hits righties and lefties. I mean, you could go on and on and on about Corey Dickerson the first couple months of the season.
A 2-1 count. Foul back, 2-2. It's hard to think of another left-handed hitter who is as aggressive as he is and still has a great approach as a left-handed hitter against left-handed pitching. Fouls it back, and he can do that right there.
Foul pitches off and keep at-bats alive. How many times has he done that with tough pitches, pitches out of the zone, and then all of a sudden, after 3-4 of those, here comes that one mistake, and he's able to capitalize upon it. And he has the highest swing rate of pitches outside the strike zone of anybody in the game.
There's a soft liner caught by Frazier down at third. That'll be out number 2.
Let's take a look at the White Sox defense. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In that outfield, left to right, we have Willie Garcia, Adam Engel, and Apsail Garcia. Across the infield, third to first, Todd Frazier, Tim Anderson, Yolmer Sanchez, and Jose Abreu, with Kevin Smith behind the plate.
Rays won last night's game without the benefit of a home run. In fact, they're homerless in their last 3 games. And here is Evan Longoria fouling off the first pitch for a strike. Longoria with 249 career home runs. This is inside off the plate, 1-1. Evan has hit 4 off Derek Holland. 11 of 32 in his career against the lefty. The pitch in, 2-1.
Well, when you combine the way that Derek Holland likes to pitch, and he likes to crowd right-handed hitters, and Evan Longoria, we see him, he's able to turn and burn with the best of them. And if you make a mistake, and it leaks back over the heart of the plate. So,
yeah, he took a big cut right there. He loved that.
And that's what you're talking about. He knows he's going to see some fastballs in, and he's obviously ready for it. He has a history against him, and this is why. I mean, look at this swing. Boy, this must be in number 5.
2-2 upstairs. So the count is full. Morrison would be next if Evan could keep the inning going. Two on the ground and grabbed by Frazier, turns and makes the throw to retire the side. Frazier came up with that hot shot ground ball. 3 up, 3 down, go the Rays. Another look at that play. On to the second, no score.
Scoreless ball game. That play against Evan Longoria, watch this. You're very rarely going to see the third baseman's glove get turned all the way to where the palm is facing left field. That's how sharply that ball was hit. It almost spun the glove right off of his hand, and he's able to then recover, make it look pretty easy, and throw Evan out.
Frazier takes the first pitch here for a strike to begin the second inning. I was going to say, well, we're not sure if he has a glove. He has a bat to lead off the inning with, but after that hot shot down at third base to end the first, you wouldn't have been surprised to see that glove head into left. High pop up here. Morrison into foul territory down from first, and that is out number 1. So Frazier retired on the high pop up. Now Tim Anderson. Coming into the game hitting .257. A single in the first game of this series and stole a base. Picks the ball down, 1-0. One. Jake pitched around the leadoff single in the first. The fly ball lifted into center. Routine play for Kiermaier, who makes the catch on that one. So Anderson is out number 2. And now Gilmer Sanchez makes his way to the plate.
Second baseman, number 5, Gilmer Sanchez.
Sanchez hitting 300 right on the button, taking a little time getting to the plate. Well, his pitcher's only thrown 15 pitches, so this is not to give him a rest. He'll take his time getting to the plate, and he takes a strike.
Yeah, I think that when you start to talk about, and it's obviously a major topic, the pace of play, those are the type of instances that you can start to clean up.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. You know, there'll be times as the game gets along and you've got a couple of quick outs, your hitter is going to take a little time.
Sure.
Give your pitcher an extra breath or two in the dugout. But you're right. That approach to the plate was not that unusual. And not to necessarily single out Sanchez, because a lot of hitters do that.
But that's the norm.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's the norm. You got to be able to listen to your song as you stroll to the plate.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Especially if you're hitting 158. Pitch is high and it's 2-2.
You know what? In that case, you don't know how many more times you're going to get to hear that song. So you want to take
it
your
all
time.
in.
Yes. Enjoy every last at bat because there may not be many left.
2-2. Foul ball off the front of the White Sox dugout, upsetting his teammates there.
All of them.
He used to be a favorite, but not now.
That was great. They're like, get the head out, my man.
Two and two. Strike three call. He got him looking on that outside edge. Just a little bit wide. Good enough for strike three call. No score. Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. By Frontier Communications. Get Bios TV, internet, and voice by Frontier today. By Jeep. Get great deals at the Jeep Spring Clearance event. And by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Scoreless through an inning and a half as Logan Morrison steps in. It's a little nubber back toward the mound. Holland fires to first, and Morrison out on one pitch. Holland coming off a tough start against the Tigers. His last time out, he gave up 8 earned runs in 2 1/3 innings, including 3 home runs.
And you know, when you look at his numbers coming into that start, He had 10 previous starts. His record 4-4, but the ERA was 2.37, and that one start blew it up all the way to almost 3.5.
Tim Beckham takes the ball, 1-0.
He's given up 3 earned or fewer in 10 of 11 starts, 2 earned or fewer in 8 of 11. So he's thrown much better than even his numbers indicate because of that one start that you reference.
2-0 count. Well, his best year came in 2011. All of that with Texas. He was 16-5 with the Rangers. Had a .395 earned run average, pitching half the time in Arlington in that ballpark. Foul back, swinging 3-0 at the fastball, fouling at 3-1. Interesting thing about that year, his ground ball rate was over 47%, high water mark for him. So far this year, just a little over 36%.
And that's a pretty big swing. You don't think of 11%, you know, a big jump, but a 47% guy, you would say, not an extreme ground ball guy, but a ground ball guy. At 36, you say that's an absolute fly ball pitcher.
Yeah.
And so that is an interesting swing.
.3-2 is lifted foul out of play. We'll see another one of those.
It could be just the change in approach, the change in the way that you pitch. We know that Derek Holland likes to crowd guys. You know, you crowd a lot of right-handed hitters, you're going to get some jam shots, little pop-ups.
And there is ball 4. So the Rays get a base runner on the walk. He has given up a few of those. And his first one tonight.
And you know what else is interesting about that? You've got the swing from a ground ball guy to a fly ball guy, but then look at how many double plays he's been able to induce.
Yep.
You know, I mean, he's closing in on double digits. 9 ground ball double plays this early in the season. You say, well, that's an extreme ground ball guy. Not the case at all. So he still shows that ability to go out and get a ground ball when he needs it.
It's Kiermaier. He takes a strike. And these two pitchers squaring off tonight, not unlike each other in that regard. Odorizzi can get a ground ball once in a while. You can see the double play situation there as it relates to Holland. This one bouncing away and a move up for Beckham. The Rays got a man up to second base. A wild pitch charged to Holland.
Kevin Smith trying to smother that pitch down in the dirt, little slider, and he's not able to keep it in front. And once Tim Beckham sees that ball shoot off to the side, he's off and running. Good anticipation.
Here's a scoring opportunity for the Rays, and a liner into center. Going to drop for a base hit and bounces away from Engel. Here comes Beckham in to score. Kiermaier will go to second, and the Rays break out in front. Kevin Kiermaier gives the Rays the lead.
I'll tell you, this entire series, we have seen the Chicago defense bite them time and time again. And once again, it happens. A wild pitch leads to a runner in scoring position. Adam Engel gets caught in between this line drive. Can I catch it? Now I better pull off of it. And he just allows it to eat him up on the short hop. That ball coming up off the chest. And Tim Beckham reads that ball down on the ground and then followed Charlie Montoya in. And Kevin Kiermaier, of course, he's getting to second base, but Adam Engel with the misplay out there in center field.
Well, there's Daniel Robertson. Pitch to him is a strike. The initial scoring on that is a double. And that ball handcuffed Engel out there and bounced away from him.
So no error.
Not yet.
Now, at the very minimum, you're a major league center fielder. It's a line drive to center. You can't take that off the chest. The problem was he put himself in poor position. You know, initially it looked like he made a break on it, like he was going to be able to catch it. Realized that he couldn't, and then was too far and too close to that ball. It came off the turf hot, got him up high.
Turn and the throw back to second, not in time. Kiermaier back standing.
You know, good for Kevin Kiermaier and good for a double, but at the same time, you know, that should have been maybe a run scoring single, and that would be it.
Yeah, give him a single, an RBI, and a move up on the bobble out there. Pitch too close to Robertson. 2-1.
We had a similar situation last night with Garcia and Wright, but irregardless of all of that, when you look around this Chicago team and some of the defensive miscues in this series,
there goes a man stealing third. Pitches a strike, and the throw down to third, not in time. Bill Miller on the call.
let's take a look. Kevin Smith offered the throw a little bit on the other side of the bag. The tag's laid. This is one of those, do you look at it because maybe he came off for a millisecond? Nice job by Kevin Kiermaier to hold that left foot on the edge of that bag.
10th stolen base of the year. Pitch foul back. Fastball foul back, a 2-2 count. It's been May down there at third, the umpire. Rays with a run home, a chance to get another one. The infield pulled up. Ground ball to third. Frazier going to come to the plate to get Kiermaier in a rundown. He stays in the rundown. Now it's Holland in a throw back, and he is out. Now over to third. Robertson trying to go there, and he is out. The catcher Smith covered the bag, and so the Rays lose both base runners. Robertson, who reached on the fielder's choice, advanced to second and tried to go to third. And with the catcher, Kevin Smith, covering third, he is tagged out. Inning over. get a run, and then they ran themselves right out of the inning. And here's that play. Robertson starts with a bounder down to Frazier, and here's the run down of Kiermaier.
Well, and you figure Kiermaier's going to stay in it for a while, and Daniel Robertson figuring the same thing, and he says, well, I'm going to get to third, try to catch Chicago napping after Kiermaier runs him all over the place. And not to be. Right there. Devan Smith to make the tag.
Good cut and a miss by Kevin Smith here to begin the third. Strike one. So that goes 5-2, 5-1, 6-2, and out.
Well, he stayed in it. The fact that he stayed in it long enough to give Robertson a chance to get to third, pretty impressive.
Well, strike two. It's a nice little workout between third and home. And then run down.
Stop and start. A lot of quick twitch. Well, he made him work for it. Unfortunate thing was it ended up getting one extra throw and one extra out.
Smith fouls it the other way, out of play. Willie Garcia will be next, and then Adam Engel, the top of the order. Ball, 2 strikes. So the Rays and Jake Odorizzi with a 1-0 lead in the third. Smith is out on strikes.
And you had better believe that Jake Odorizzi is going to log that away, because he gets ahead at Kevin Smith and then comes with that split changeup that really out of the hand should have been read as a ball. That was not nearly in the zone long enough to elicit that swing. So you think about what Jake Odorizzi is going to be able to do to him second, third time through the lineup with that pitch. Something to keep an eye on.
There's Garcia hitting .227. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Into right center field. That ball over Sousa's head. Kiermaier plays the carom. Throw back into the infield. Now loose. Beckham's going to have to run it down. Throw to third. It's wild. That's backed up now by Borges, and the throw to the plate. He is out at the plate. How about that?
Oh my goodness gracious. What a series of comedic errors. And then one fine throw by Peter Borges on a, you know what, on a very good backup by him. Well, here we go. We got an angle a little bit too shallow for Sousa Jr. Balls over the head. Here's Kiermaier to back it up. He's going to fire it in, and then it begins off the glove. Then the heroic throw, not so much. Here comes a run. Look at Borges, though, backing it up, bare hand. And he gets him. That is tremendous. Way to stay with it, boys.
And a barehanded pickup by Borges. And right there for the tag, Norris puts it on Garcia.
That's round of applause for all that.
And here's Engel. Well, check swing, and that ball's going to go foul, just to give everybody a chance to catch a breath.
I mean, think about it. Line drive, Sousa Jr. wants to make the play. Shallow angle, it's going to get by him.
Yep.
Kiermaier backs it up, off Beckham's glove. He runs it down. He fires it wide of Longoria off the low wall. And then here comes Peter Borges with the bare hand. Beautiful throw to Derek Norris.
Now Borges, who's just back from tennis elbow, made a fine throw right there.
Yeah, well, the recovery was quick, and they got that thing strong.
This pitch is down. Well, Garcia will get credit for a double. That began all of it. And then Kiermaier played the carom. They've announced E9, but it was Kiermaier who made the throw, so it's an E8. That'll be changed. And then as Garcia continued to third when that errant throw got away from Beckham, all of a sudden Peter Bourjos was there to save the day and made the throw to the plate.
The one guy that has the bad elbow, and he's the one that makes the strongest throw right on the money.
And here's Beckham's throw to first to take care of Engel. Well, just another 3 up, 3 down, folks, and the Rays lead it 1-0.
Turning back the clock on Saturday for the doubleheader, and inspired by the 70s theme, there's going to be some specialty food items on the menu. So take a look. How about this? You can get a fried Twinkie rolled in Monster cereals, a Buzz Alden drink with orange tang, some hamburger helper in a cone, and fried Kool-Aid. I actually tasted the fried Twinkies before tonight's game, and sticking with that 70s theme, guys, I'd say it was groovy, baby. Yeah, I think the fans will really dig it. It was good. It was really good, actually.
Of course we'll really dig it. Doubleheader on Saturday, 2 for the price of 1.
Can't wait.
Derek Norris leading off the bottom of the 3rd.
You know, I'm real interested in that hamburger helper in a cone. I've never heard of that.
No.
Now, listen, I was born in the 70s, so probably was too young to enjoy that.
Well, I enjoyed the 70s, and I never heard of that.
Ah.
So.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Yep.
Sounds like something you would eat in the 70s. You look at some of the clothes that were worn in the 70s. You'd eat just about anything, right?
Look at that.
In a cone, though.
Yeah.
In a cone. You know, not just in a. By the way, Dwayne, I don't know why they call it hamburger helper. I think it does just fine by itself.
Doesn't need any at all, does it?
Maybe that's where they got it from.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Don't miss it. A lot of frivolity. That'll be Saturday. When's it begin? Oh, there's a drive. Deep to left off the bat of Norris. That baby's out of here. Derek Norris on a 1-2 pitch collects his 6th home run of the year. And the Rays now lead 2-0.
Well, it's been a while, Dwayne. Haven't seen the Rays circling the bases here in a couple of games, something that's not normal at all for this squad. A cement mixer, an absolute hanger right in the middle of the plate above the belt. Derek Norris, he does exactly what you're supposed to do with that. Put a good swing on it, hit it hard, and this one, he gets over the wall.
Peter Borges takes the pitch for a ball. Well, the Rays had gone 3 games without a home run. One ball, one strike. Borges back in the lineup off the disabled list. Ground ball. There's a base hit into right. Borges is aboard. Borges follows the Norris home run with a single the other way.
Now capitalizing on some mistakes. The Rays bottom of the order here. Supplying some pressure. And you got that added dimension too of plus speed on the base paths.
Well, there's Steven Souza Jr. The Rays are trying to get him going. He lifted a fly ball his first time up there. So he's 0 for 1 and one of his last 21. This is the breaking ball, strike 1. A tap foul. 0-2. Well, the home run by Norris. You mentioned the Rays had gone 3 games without one. Norris hit one in that 10-inning win over the Texas Rangers to wrap up that series Wednesday. A week ago yesterday. Morrison and Norris homered in the 10th inning of that game. A ball, 2 strikes to Steven Souza Jr. And he is out on strikes for the first out in the 3rd, and the first strikeout for the left-hander Holland.
And it comes on one of the better pitches we've seen him throw here tonight, a nasty slider down and in, and that's what that fastball in will allow him to do. Fastball in, he makes you aware, and then all of a sudden drops that slider and he's able to sneak it under the right-hander swing.
Here's Corey Dickerson. Here goes a runner. The pitch is wide. The throw will not be in time. Stolen base number 3 for Borges this year. He's 3 out of 4 in that category.
Kevin Smith didn't have a chance. Talked about the plus speed of Peter Borges. That's not even a big lead, but he gets off and running on first movement from Derek Holland, and it's not even close. Not an easy pitch to handle, but it didn't matter. He was there.
Rays with a run in the 2nd inning, another run in the 3rd on the Derek Norris home run. Borges stealing his way into scoring position. Corey Dickerson fouled that one, 1-1. Ooh, up and in. He started his stride, and suddenly the fastball right there on it. 2 balls and a strike.
Arm side run up and in. You're going to see it right here, and boy, it just does. They actually appealed down there to see if Corey Dickerson might have swung. Another bit of cheap strike.
The 2-1. Little ground ball left side. Could be a tough play for Anderson. No play. Now Borges rounds the bag, and he managed to get back in. Anderson went diving in, trying to get the tag, and Borges just did get back in. Base hit for Dickerson. It's been an adventure here early in this game.
Boy, it sure has. Well placed by Dickerson. No play on him. Now you look to Borges. He rounds, just realizes he's got to get back, and able to sneak that right arm in there. But there's a lot going on out in the field here tonight.
A lot of people living on the edge tonight.
Yes. Not even the weekend. It's only Thursday.
Weekend has started early.
Cheers, Dwayne. Yes, it has.
And right back at you. Now, Evan Longoria. There's a strike.
Phone's ringing.
Yeah, just ignore it. Dickerson backhanded first. Evan bounced to third his first time, actually hit the ball sharply. Popped the other way and going to be out of play. Ball he hit to third almost took Frazier's glove with it, but Frazier made the play. Here in the third, a home run by Norris, base hit by Borges. Stole second. Souza Jr. struck out. Dickerson reached on the infield hit. So it's first and third. Upstairs, fastball from the left-hander. Logan Morrison on deck. Back foot out of the way of that one, and it's 2-2.
Trying everything that he can do here to either A, elicit bad contact from Evan Longoria, or at this point go for the strikeout. Runners at the corners, less than 2 outs. The Rays already here with a 2-run lead.
And the pitch is popped into short right near the line. Sanchez out. He's not going to get that one. The run will score. The Rays get another one to make it a 3-0 ball game. Dickerson advances to second. Longoria picking up his 31st run, batted in. And Sanchez found himself in a very difficult position trying to catch that.
Yeah, this was another one of those bad angles. With Dwayne, you talked about it earlier. If Garcia can't get there, this is going to be tough. And he's coming from deep out there in right center. And Yolmer Sanchez trying to find that ball up against this roof while taking that odd angle out there. Just he overruns it, gets by him, and that ball falls in. Rays add to the lead, still threatened. And the adventures here at Tropicana Field continue.
Yeah, it has not been the conventional approach to playing the game, but the Rays find themselves up 3-0. Four hits in this inning. Norris opened with a home run. Logan Morrison. Morrison out, pitcher first, his first time. Pitch is down. A ball, no strikes. The Rays with 5 hits, 3 runs. 2 men on, 1 out in the third.
Oh, that's neat.
Wide right there, 2-0. Holland had a visit from the White Sox pitching coach. Over 20 pitches in this inning. One. Tim Beckham on deck. Fastball for a strike evens the count.
A couple of well-placed fastballs to get back into this count. Logan Morrison always dangerous, left-hander or not.
And there's ball 3. You know, Don Cooper went to the mound at the time. Holland had made 20 pitches. One of those trips where you're just trying to change the momentum a little bit of the inning. Strange things that happen. See if you couldn't just break it up for a moment or two and then find yourself in a better direction.
Trying to get some normalcy. You're right about that. Look out, Rocco Baldelli.
Ducking that line drive as it bounds down toward the bullpen. One of those things you're not sure you can get low enough on.
That's right. Like the ball, like a heat-seeking missile.
Just follows you. 3-2 again. Runners on the move, and there's ball 4. Bases are loaded. They'll be loaded for Tim Beckham. Boy, a chance for a very big inning right here.
Well, Tim Beckham, you can see right there that 375 average, 6 out of 16 with the bases loaded.
Well, Holland has to come to him. He walked him with 1 out in the second. That led to the first run of the game. And the take in off the plate, a ball and no strikes.
Beckham had the big hit for the Rays last night with the bases loaded. Took a ball out to right field.
Ground ball short. Anderson goes to second, 1 over to first. White Sox get the double play. 6-4-3, and that'll retire the side, but the Rays add a couple runs. Home run by Derek Norris started it. Longoria drove in the other run. At Tropicana Field, the Rays have a 3-0 lead. Derek Norris, the Rays catcher, opening the bottom of the third with a home run for his battery mate, Jake Odorizzi. And Melky Cabrera is the first hitter up for the White Sox. Pitch is down. Odorizzi with 3 strikeouts tonight through the first 3 innings. Giving up a couple hits. Behind 2-0. He went 3-2 with Cabrera. And an extended at bat in the first inning. 8 pitches. Struck him out with the changeup. 2-1. Fouling the fastball up.
And you're going to see a lot of those. Jake Odorizzi loves that fastball up and out over the plate. And we've talked an awful lot about how he forces hitters to defend the entire strike zone. But boy, you better be good with pitches that are elevated. And he puts them up there as consistently as anybody that we see, without having overpowering velocity. It's a gutsy pitch. Because if it's not up as much as you'd like it, then it becomes good hitting. And he's not afraid to throw it up there. A lot of confidence in being able to do it. And then drop that guy.
And a little chopper. Odorizzi will have to cover. Takes the peg. Morrison to Odorizzi to retire Cabrera.
That's a perfect example of how Jake Odorizzi can work over a hitter. You know, those fastballs up, get you swinging at him, get you fouling him off. And then all of a sudden here comes that change up down as you were looking up, and you either swing and miss or you pound it right into the ground.
Here's Jose Abreu.
It's kind of the same combo that we saw a little bit from Jacob Faria last night. That ability to elevate the heater and then that split change up.
Yeah, and while you're on the topic, I'll tell you, they sent him back to the minor leagues. We'll see him again. And it's certainly based on what we saw last night, that was as encouraging an outing from a young pitcher, I think, as we've seen in a long time. It's Morrison, and a nice job short right field out to first.
Well, here's what I'd like to say. I'd like to see him in 5 days. I mean, I know that we're not going to, at least at this point, but that's how impressive he was. And by the way, that was after major league debut in front of friends and family and fiance at home here at Tropicana Field, and he gives up a run. The guy that scored the run off of him was the first hitter that he faced. First inning. Was he rattled at all by that? No. Settled right into the game, and he was something else.
Yeah, there was everything to like out there about that young right-hander last night. I'm very encouraged by that, and a ton of fun to watch work. Avisail Garcia takes the pitch inside. 1-0.
I love the pitches. The split changeup, the fastball, the curveball that he can use early in counts to get strikes. The little cutter sometimes looked like a little bit of a slider, moving in the opposite direction. The simplicity of his mechanics out of the windup and the stretch.
Yeah, and I loved his post-game quote when he said, I feel great. He says, my legs feel as if they could run another mile. And he goes, with no problem. He says, the adrenaline is still pumping.
You're gonna, even his quotes before the start, when he talked about how much the moment meant to him, and up to this point, most exciting, time of his life when it comes to sports, and you would expect all that, but he seems to be a kid who's not afraid to say exactly how he feels, which is refreshing.
2-1. Yeah, his exact quote was, usually after starts my legs would be exhausted, but I feel like I could go run a mile right now. I've still got a ton of adrenaline going. It feels great. That's a great quote following a great performance last night by the young right-hander Jacob Faria. other guys who won as a starter in their major league debut. Orlando Rojo, Ricky Callaway, Joe Kennedy, swinging and a miss. Garcia's out on strikes. 1, 2, 3, 4th. Burrow to Rizzi. 3-0 Rays. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Thousands of kids in our community do not play baseball or softball because they cannot afford equipment, and you can help by donating new or used equipment June 11th when the Rays take on the Athletics. First pitch is a strike to Kevin Kiermaier. Fans who donate an item at gates 1 or 3 receive a 2017 ticket voucher. Rays and Baseball Tomorrow Fund in support of youth baseball and softball. It'll be June 11th before the Rays and the Athletics play gates 1 or 3. 1-1. Kiermaier takes strike 2. Tap back to the hill. Holland turns and fires to first.
Now, Dwayne, let's take a look at our big story here tonight, and it is Boston, New York. The rubber match, each 1-1 in this series, looking for a series victory. And David Price victimized right there by Gary Sanchez. Already a run on the board. There'd be 3 more added on that blast by the Yankee catcher. And right now, the Yankees all over David Price and the Red Sox here in the 3rd inning, 4-0.
Boston 2 games back of New York in the East. Daniel Robertson takes a strike. Baltimore 2.5 back to start the day. The Rays 5.5 back. Toronto 6. Pitch is down. 1-1. Ground ball. That's going to get by Abreu. And to right, and Robertson's aboard with a base hit. Daniel Robertson picking up his first hit.
Number 33, Derek Norris.
Derek Norris, who homered in the 3rd, will bat again here in the 4th.
Well, trying to come in again, and Daniel Robertson, he's seen enough of that. Stays inside that pitch, pops it the other way, and gets it by Abreu at first.
Rays with a run in the second, 2 more in the third. Holland 4-3 in his career against the Rays. Keeping an eye on Robertson. The Rays a game under 500 for the year. They're 7-13 against games started by left-handers. Trying to address that issue a bit here tonight. 2-0. Up in the count. And he swings a bit way back into left center field. Gone. Norris with his second home run. A 2-0 pitch, and he ignited that one. Braves now have a 5-run lead.
Have yourself a night, Derek Norris. Well, he's taking it upon himself here. There's the 2-0 delivery, fat and out over the plate. And again, slug.
Swing and miss by Borges. Third career 2-home run game for Derek Norris. Solo in the third, a 2-run blast in the fourth. Borges hits one deep into the seats, well foul.
Much doubt to that one. Center field.
There's a drive off the bat of Borges. High and deep and gone. Wow. Borges got into that one. Back-to-back home runs by Norris and Borges. And the Rays have a 6-0 lead.
Yeah, I wonder why Derek Holland would go back to that same pitch. He just threw that pitch. You got it in on him, and you saw him hammer that ball to left field, well foul. And you come right back with the same thing. This is just, you go back to pitch selection here. And Peter Borges, how about flex some muscle? We got a snapshot of this on the previous pitch, and this one absolutely destroyed.
For the 8th time this year, the Rays go back-to-back in the home run department. And what a launch by Borges. 6-0. Souza fouls it back. So Norris had been involved in a back-to-back home run duo with Daniel Robertson on May the 5th against Toronto, and now Borges teams up with Norris back-to-back. Now ground ball backhanded by Sanchez. Throw to first and out the call there. Close play at first. Kerwin Danley on the call, and Souza Jr. thrown out by Sanchez, and there it is. He just got it.
How about that? That's about as close as you're going to get. And that ball did get into the interior of Jose Abreu's glove in time.
Dickerson takes it the other way. That's going to be foul. Just on the other side of the foul line, approaching the 3:15 marker. Rays have opened a 6-run lead. They've hit 3 home runs in the process. 91 on the year for the Rays as a team. Only 1 to count on Dickerson. Lineup heating up here in this game.
Right down there, 6, 7, 8, 9. Serving notice. That's the one thing when the Rays offense is clicking, you never know where it's going to come from. I mean, 1 through 9 are capable. See that here tonight.
It's wide, 2-2. Seats just beyond the dugout. The Rays started the night 2nd in the league in home runs. They now have 91. Houston leading the league with 94 home runs. We have a full count. Dickerson, after getting down on the count, has a 3-2 situation here against Derek Holland. And he is out on strikes. Fastball running away from him. But the Rays have a big inning. Back-to-back home runs. A 2-run shot by Derek Norris. And the home run to follow off the bat of Peter Borges. The Rays with a 3-run inning and a 6-0 lead. Each coming in the last 2 innings, including back-to-back shots by Derek Norris and Peter Borges. have built a 6-0 lead as we go to the 5th inning. Todd Frazier leads off, and the first pitch is a strike call. Frazier, a high pop handled by Morrison at first base in the 2nd inning. And lays off that pitch just off the plate. It's 1-1. That's going to be on the corner. 1-2.
The Rays with an offensive awakening here the last couple of innings, and given Jake Odorizzi a pretty nice cushion here, 6-run cushion in the 5th inning, but you still see Jake out there working the corners, trying to make pitches, not conceding anything.
2-2. Count's full now on Frazier. Tim Anderson, the shortstop, next, and then Yolmer Sanchez, the second baseman, will hit 3rd. Ground ball. That's a base hit to the left of Beckham. Odorizzi gives up the leadoff single here to Todd Frazier. Well, the White Sox won the opening game of this series, but they've lost 6 of their last 7. And Rick Renteria, the manager, trying to fire up the White Sox in their dugout between innings.
So you don't see that very often, not in baseball. That's a football gathering. I think Todd Frazier got the memo, heard him loud and clear. He comes out and gets a base hit, but that is something that you really don't see a lot in this game. The in-between inning pep talk from the manager, with emotion, by the way, in that dugout. You get tired of watching it. You know, it's not only Dwayne, that they've lost 6 of 7. That's bad enough, but the play has been uninspired and sloppy. Defensive miscues, mental mistakes. It's been a lot of little nagging things that will annoy a manager, on top of the fact that it causes you to lose games.
Well, they're right now 6 under 500. They're on a 10-day road trip. They'll go to Cleveland following this game to play the Indians up there. Trying to fire up his club. 3-0 the count on Tim Anderson. And there's ball 4. So base hit and a walk here to begin the 5th inning. Not exactly the way Odorizzi would like to draw it up after being handed a 6-0 lead.
No, not at all. And usually a guy, you know, that is given a lead like that, especially Jake Odorizzi, he's got some experience in this league. You're not going to change your approach at all. You're going to continue to pitch as if it's nothing. Follow the game plan and continue to try to exploit the weaknesses of these hitters. But an extended at bat with a couple of bad misses to Frazier leads to a base hit, then an uncharacteristic walk there to Anderson.
And now Sanchez is the hitter. He was called out on strikes on a pitch away his first time.
It's one of those ground ball double plays would come in handy.
Fouls this one back and out of play for a strike. Odorizzi with 4 strikeouts to go with the walk. He's given up 3 hits now. A little ground ball right side. That's going to be a foul ball. And And the count advances to 0-2. Evan Smith is on deck. It's down 1-2. Jake trying to get the first out here. Rio was trying to impart some of the stick-to-itiveness that he had to have as a player. He had to battle for all the big league time that he got. One and two now. Foul back, still right there at the ball, 2 strikes. Correa as a player over 15 years, and the majority of that in the minor leagues. He was in the big leagues in parts of 5 seasons. Pittsburgh, Seattle. 1-2 the count. Little tap right side. Morrison with the toss to Rizzi, and safe the call there. So Sanchez beat the play in. Danley on the call. And now with the Frazier single, the walk to Anderson.
And the Rays,
safe call.
Yeah, the Rays are going to challenge it, and they're going to challenge it quickly. And so what they have seen, they seem to be pretty convinced. It's close. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, there's the foot of Odorizzi. That should be overturned, and that should be a 3-1 put out. Right there, you can see that foot of Odorizzi get to the bag just ahead of Yolmer Sanchez. Has the ball in his possession. It shouldn't take that long.
So the Rays challenge the safe call of Kerwin Danley down at first. Difference between men at second and third and 1 out, and the bases loaded, nobody out. After the Rays have built a 6-0 lead. And another look. Ball in the glove. Right foot on the bag, and the runner now arrives.
Yep. I mean, just in the nick of time, but he was out.
So it's second and third, 1 out. Rays get that call overturned. So that's out number 1. Foul ball back. Fastball up. Smith getting back-to-back starts behind the plate. 1 for 3 last night with a double. And a strikeout on the split the first time up in this game. One and one. Cut and a miss. 1 and 2.
you go. How do you put him away? As meekly as you possibly can. Strikeout preferred. Second and third. Just the one out. And Odorizzi now with a 1-2 count on Kevin Smith. A great count to get a hitter to expand his strike zone. That's what he'll be looking to do here.
Well, they went split 1-2 in the third. Struck him out on the fastball up last night. And this one, fastball up, and he takes it. 2-2.
And that's okay, because that sets up what could be another split change down. And remember, they got him on that split change down, and it was way down, and he went fishing after it.
Two, and he strikes him out. Big out there.
You got to know that you can go there. And after that first strikeout, we said, listen, he's going to log this away and know that he can always go back to this pitch when need be. Well, second and third and one out, need be. And he drops it right in there and sneaks it under the swing and gets him again. That's a big pitch in a big spot.
So 2 gone, 2 men on, 2 men out. Willie Garcia. Pitch is outside. Well, Garcia got credit for the double in the third when he was circling the bases, trying for the Little League home run, which was essentially a double with an error involved, and finally he was out at the plate. But there could have potentially been 2 errors on that play had he been able to score. The ball was flying all over the place.
Yeah, lined out to right center off the wall, fired back in off of a glove, thrown down the left field line off the low wall. And there's the hero, Peter Borges, there to save the day.
There's a strike. It's 2-1. And Peter Borges coming off the disabled list. He made the play that cut down Garcia in the third and then hit that long home run in the 4th inning. Foul back, 2-2. With an extended inning here, everything else has been very good. Two, and the count's going to be full. Garcia would not offer at the split. Ground ball headed to second. Robertson's throw is in plenty of time. 2 men on with nobody out. White Sox lead them. We're headed into the bottom of the 5th. Jake Odorizzi and the Rays have a 6-0 lead. No runs in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, and 3 in the fourth. We'll see what holds here in the fifth. Evan Longoria takes a strike. Evan to be followed by Morrison and Beckham.
It's like one of those math problems. Like what number would you expect following the progression? What were to come next?
I'm not sure that between the two of us that we could solve all those math problems.
No. In fact, I was promised that there would be no math here tonight.
Longoria leading it off. Ground ball headed to short. Anderson throws out Evan. Rays in 7-Eleven bringing a $7.11 ticket to Rays fans. Visit a local participating 7-Eleven store and pick up a Rays discount coupon for the game Friday against the Athletics. Keep saving with $5 Budweiser and Bud Light drafts exclusively on the Budweiser ports. Ages 21 and over, please drink responsibly. Raise up. Logan Morrison takes a strike. Stairs 1-1. Juan Minaya had been up earlier in the bullpen last inning, and so he's up again here in the fifth. 2-1. Two. Well, every spot in the Rays lineup has managed to reach base in this game, with the exception of the leadoff spot. And a lot of damage handed out by the bottom of the order.
And here we are, just in the bottom of the fifth inning.
Full count to Morrison. There you go. Look at that. Kiermaier 1 out of 2. Robertson 1 of 2. Norris a 2 home run night. Borges 2 for 2 with a home run. And Morrison throws the bat away and draws the walk. Second time he's walked tonight. One on with 1 out for Tim Beckham. Holland now with 93 pitches on the evening. Beckham shoots a base hit up the middle. Line drive into center off the fastball. 2 men aboard with 1 out.
I'll tell you, as aggressive as the Rays are swinging the bat, Derek Holland's style of pitching dangerous. If you're not completely on with your command, you've got a chance to get hit hard. A lot of fastballs in early, now trying to go away, but still that ball leaking across the middle of the plate. And when you're making mistakes against a team that swings the bat like the Rays do, as far as with the authority that they swing it with and also how aggressive they are, you run the risk of giving up some hard hit balls and some crooked numbers, and that's what we've seen. Better be careful right here too, because Kiermaier primed to cut it loose.
Takes a fastball on the corner away, strike 1. Kevin double, drove in a run in the second inning, out pitcher first the last time. into the dirt, and Smith manages to keep the ball out in front of him. Morrison had a good look in from second base at all of that and stayed put.
I'm not really sure how he did either, because this ball yanked badly. A little, almost a knuckle slider, knuckle curve. I mean, that thing was just yanked badly by Holland.
Kiermaier takes ball 2. Well, the double and the run batted in tonight for the Rays center fielder. He's hit well over 320 for the last a little better than 3 weeks now. Fouls it back. 2-2. And we start to see Kiermaier with his approach and his selection be a little more disciplined.
He's sure of himself. You know, he's sure of his swing. He feels comfortable at the plate, believes what his eyes are telling him. And then you see the results in the decisiveness of the swing. That means everything. If you've got a well-defined strike zone, you have a chance. If you're having trouble with that, everything is compounded and it becomes extremely difficult.
Two, and this one foul ball, and down he goes.
Got him right on that pad. That's why you wear it. Still isn't going to feel that good, but at least it gives you some protection.
Yeah, you can only imagine what that's like without it.
He's still down.
Back in with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Full count now. Rizzi and Holland, the matchup here, and the Rays have a 6-0 lead. Kiermaier with a full count. Chopper right side, a fair ball, close at first, and out the call, and Kiermaier has hurt himself going into first base. Tried to slide into first base, and he is, you see there, on both knees.
He's an aggressive player, and he throws caution to the wind an awful lot with his body, and sometimes it takes your breath away. He's so valuable to this team. Those legs so valuable to this team. I hope something just, that's a great sign right there.
Well, let's take a look.
You see it jam right there. So much that it propelled him. Look how far it propelled him over the bag. You can see the waves rippling up the leg.
And with that, the White Sox will make a pitching change. We'll be right back. Holland out of Newark, Ohio, departs the game with 101 pitches. 9 hits, 6 runs, and responsible for a couple men on as he departs in favor of Juan Minaya.
He was looking back for that bounce back outing after his last start against Detroit. Did not happen. Too many mistakes, and the Rays capitalized.
Daniel Robertson goes after a first pitch fastball, skies it into center field. Engel makes the catch, and the Rays are out, leaving 2 in the 5th, leading 6-0. Coming off that tough outing in Seattle, looking for a good one here tonight, and through 5 innings he has exactly that. A 5 strikeout, 1 walk performance, no runs on 3 hits, and plenty of offensive support. Back-to-back home runs. Derek Norris hit one in the 3rd, hit another one in the 4th inning, and Peter Borges followed that with a long home run to left. Well, the Rays have built this 6-0 lead moving into the 6th inning.
Well, throwing up zeros, getting support from your offense, specifically the bottom part of your offense, and right now the Rays cruising.
Yeah, from number 6 on down, they've driven in 5 of the 6 runs. Borges will slide over to play center. Kobe Rasmus in the game at left. Kiermaier out. And the first pitch here is a strike to Adam Engel.
And you hope that that's just obviously precautionary. You know, took a tumble there, a rough late slide into first base. That lower half gets jarred around a little bit.
Yeah, and sometimes difficult. You know, you saw the foot and the ankle go in there, but that is a ripple effect.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm not quite sure what's actually bothering him.
No, you hit the bag with a force like that. You know, it could be a hip, a quad. I mean, there's all sorts of things that could be the problem. The encouraging thing is that he was able to, you know, get off the field under his own power. You know, they didn't insist that he be helped off the field, and he was able to walk down into the dugout. That's a great sign.
Sometimes an injury like that, the sooner you can apply treatment, the better off you are in terms of trying to return to the field as quickly as possible.
And you'll have a real good idea, you know, tomorrow morning when
Yeah.
you wake up and get out of bed. You'll know exactly the extent.
Chopper to third.
Oh.
Charged and scooped by Longoria. Put that glove down there, scooped it right up and made the play.
That is such a tough hop to negotiate. And this is where Evan has to make a split-second decision. Do I wait back? I don't know if I have the time, or do I charge? But it's still in between. And you see how he just kind of fans that glove out away from his body and makes a heck of a play against a guy that's got speed. That's a tough hop to handle. And he makes it look really easy.
And you get that leadoff man. Important to get the first out in an inning. It's Cabrera. Pitch is a little bit wide. He has struck out and grounded out tonight.
You see a lot of lesser third basemen would whiff that play. They would whiff it. Forget about not making it. They just miss the ball. That is a tough hop. You certainly don't want to take it out in front. That's why Evan took it to the side and kind of got that glove out there just to kind of protect the area.
Line drive base hit. Cabrera's on for the first time tonight.
First baseman, Jose Abreu.
Here's Jose Abreu. Twice has hit the ball into the air. A fly ball to right to first. And a popper into short right in the fourth, handled by Morrison. Base hit the other way. Souza Jr. with the pickup. Cabrera stops at second. So Abreu takes one into right. 2 on with 1 out.
Right fielder, Garcia.
Well, this is why that first out is so important to get with guys like this following, and now it's Avisail Garcia.
No doubt about it. They've jumped. They've jumped right out there. Haven't wasted any time putting the bat on the ball, finding some holes.
Garcia has grounded to third and struck out. And a long one back into deep left. Rasmus will look up, and that one is out of here. Garcia hitting his 10th home run of the year, and suddenly the White Sox are right back in it on a 3-run home run, giving Garcia 42 runs batted in. It's 6-3.
Now he leads this team in that category for good reason. Productive bat, hits in front of guys that can get on base, or hits behind guys that can get on base. There's the split changeup, and it just stays flat. Abreu hit one into right field, and then Garcia here catches it clean, and that was an absolute no-doubter.
Single home run. Now Frazier. Pitch is a strike to him. Ryan Stanek, the young hard-throwing right-hander, starting to get busy down there in the bullpen. Frazier fouls it out of play quickly. Odorizzi is ahead in the count. Twelve home runs now given up on the year by Jake. One and two. Two and two. Ground ball toward the middle. Backhanded. Robertson could not get rid of it. Going to be a tough play from there anyway. Then it goes a base hit for Frazier.
Well, not only that, but that ground ball, Dwayne, perfectly splits Beckham and Robertson. So there's a little bit of who's going to make this play. Watch where this ground ball goes, and these guys converge on it. Right in between. Beckham pulls off, and Robertson trying to backhand and get rid of it very quickly. Just never able to get it into the pocket of the glove, and it squirts free on the transfer.
So Jim Hickey heads to the mound with a man at first base now. MLB.com at bat is your #1 mobile app for live Rays baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Rays home screen icons and app features, as well as live game video highlights, StatCast, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today. Now Tim Anderson into right field. Souza's going to be there to make the catch. Now Anderson on the first pitch is retired, 2 gone, stopping a string of 4 consecutive hits. Single from Cabrera, Abreu, home run Garcia, base hit by Frazier. And now Anderson retired, 2 gone with a man at first. Yolmer Sanchez. Close, 1-0. Infante up in the White Sox bullpen. One and one. Rizzi just over 90 pitches.
See, the 26th and the 5th really drove that number up. He can end this inning quickly. Still be right on line.
Tapper foul, 1 and 2.
Yeah, you start to think about the 15 per. And through 6 innings, you'd ideally love to be around that 90 number.
And he's averaged a little more than that this year. Coming in, he's been a little over 18 pitches an inning on average. 2-2 the count on Sanchez. Swing and a miss. He strikes out Sanchez. Picking up the final out here in the 6th. 3 runs in, 6-3 Rays.
Again involves David Price and Gary Sanchez, who this time decides to go out to right center field. His second home run tonight off the Boston lefty, and right now the Yankees continue to be up on the Boston Red Sox 6-1 through 6 innings, and this is the line from David Price. A big matchup between these two teams, both at the top of the division, and in 5 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs. He walked 4, struck out for 107 pitches. Not exactly what the Red Sox were hoping for here tonight.
Will not endear him to the folks in New England.
No, especially not after, was it yesterday's media meltdown?
A little tirade and so forth. Manaea delivers, and Norris fouls it back. Strike 1. Rays got 6 off Holland. Manaea got the final out in the 5th. Norris, who has homered twice, is now down in the count. He was behind 1 and 2 in the count in the 3rd when he homered, and ahead 2-0 in the 4th. Both those home runs off the left-hander Derek Holland. Out on strikes. First out in the home half of the 6th. It's Peter Borges. He's had a very good night tonight. Cutting down a runner at the plate in the 3rd. Had a single, steal, run scored in the 3rd. Long home run to left in the 4th inning. Fouls it out of play. Strike 1. Rays looking at the right-hander. After 4 2/3 from Holland. It's popped up. Out from short. Anderson is there, and right over Sanchez makes the catch. 2 outs.
Continue to make it interesting out there.
Anderson with just a little bit more reach.
Well, Yomer has more power.
Steven Souza Jr. Oh for 3 tonight for Souza. That's a strike. Rays hit 3 home runs off the starter Holland. Found the home run range again in this game. 1-1. Been homerless in 3 games, their last 3. Doria with Don Cooper as pitching coach. 2 balls and a strike. Cooper's had a nice long run on the south side of Chicago as the pitching coach. Fouled out of play. 2-2. 29 years in the White Sox organization and 14 full seasons as the pitching coach. Broken bat. Sanchez handles this one. 3 up and 3 down. We're going to head into the 7th. 6-3 Tampa Bay. Southern Chevy dealers. Buy Jeep. Get great deals at the Jeep Spring Clearance event. And by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. On to the 7th inning we go. Jake Odorizzi back out there on the hill. The number 8 hitter, the catcher, Kevin Smith, due to lead it off. Willie Garcia due, followed by Adam Engel. Smith a couple of strikeouts tonight and a swing and miss on the fastball. Strike 1.
Well, he's had trouble with the fastball up in the zone. He's had trouble with that split change down in the zone. Obviously, especially with 2 strikes, because that's how Jake has been able to take him out.
Cut and a miss. A couple of fastballs here, and it's 0-2.
You know, he had trouble with the fastball yesterday with Jacob Faria. Same thing, elevated, and he was able to power by him. His first at bat against him, it was 3 in a row.
Yep.
And so now you can go right back up there if you want, or you can go back to the split change.
Upstairs.
Jake trying to find a new way to get him out. Stays with the hard stuff.
Jake not quite to 100, but closing in. And a little wide right there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's Garcia on deck. And a cut and a miss. Smith out on strikes. On away here in the 7th. With that, let's check in with Alex and get an update on Kevin Kiermaier.
Thanks, Dwayne. Yeah, talking with the Rays, they said he jammed his right hip on the play. He's still being evaluated. Tampa Bay will have more on Kevin Kiermaier potentially after the game.
Okay, well, let's hope that there's nothing serious there with the jammed right hip. Garcia, there's a strike. 7 strikeouts tonight for Odorizzi. Probably Hunter busy in the bullpen. It's 1-1. foul out of play. Now 1-2.
Well, Dwayne, watch the back leg as it curls and goes into the ground. The right hip is going to really jerk. Can't really tell there. This last shot, you're going to be able to see it. Watch the right hip right there. You see that little movement right there. That sudden jerk in that right hip when that knee hit the ground. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Garcia chases one up. And that's strikeout number 8. That equals his single game high. He had 8 strikeouts against the Angels 3 starts ago. And here is Adam Engel. Fouls it back for a strike. (118 pitches, the high for Odorizzi this year. He's a little over 100 right now. Pitch upstairs. It's 1-1. Made 118 pitches against the Twins 2 starts ago. It's upstairs. 2-1. That start against the Twins, 13 of those was against Kendrys Vargas.
That's it. Almost all in the same spot.
Yep.
He was susceptible to the fastball up and out over the plate, and Jake Odorizzi, that was quite the battle those two had.
It's 2-2 here on Engel. Jake's career high in pitches, 120. Two upstairs, and the count is full. It's Melky Cabrera on deck. (3-2). And a base hit into right field. Souza Jr. with the pickup. So Engel, off the fastball, picks up a base hit. So with 2 outs, Kevin Cash will head to the mound. Melky Cabrera is due up, and the Rays will make a pitching change here in the 7th. Dealers by Just for Men. Try new 5-in-1 Aqua Velva Aftershave Balm. And by Jeep. Get great deals at the Jeep Spring Clearance Event. Rays hold a 6-3 lead in the top of the 7th inning. Jake Odorizzi departs after 6 2/3, allowing 8 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. Tommy Hunter will replace him. And Melky Cabrera at the plate. Pitch is too high. Hunter worked 2/3 of an inning last night, came on in the 7th inning, struck out Matt Davidson and Tim Anderson.
Just about a strikeout an inning. Tommy Hunter's put up some good numbers here for the Rays.
It's 2-0.
He still has that explosive fastball, a sharp cutter that's actually thrown with really good velocity. A couple of weapons at his disposal.
And he comes in with a strike here. Mid-90s. 2-1. Three balls and a strike. Runner takes off, a swing and a miss, popping out of the mitt. So the count is a full count. A little discussion here between Norris and Hamari, and I'm wondering if Norris was thinking that was a foul ball, and Hamari saying, well, it fell out of your mitt when you were trying to transfer.
But I didn't see the foul part of it. Especially on that shot that we had, that slow-mo from center field. He swung right over the top of it.
So Ingles at second, and the count is full. To Beckham. Go to first, takes care of the White Sox here in the 7th. They leave a man. The Rays hold a 6-3 lead. Right-hander Jeff Neiman tossing a 2-hit shutout, striking out 6. as the Rays defeated Toronto 9-0. Rays hold a 6-3 lead, moving back into the bottom of the 7th. And he's doing his part, cheering the Rays on.
It's getting late too. That's some good stamina.
Yeah,
by the
like
little
it.
guy. I could see the remnants though of some cotton candy, which helps.
He's ready to go a full 9 innings. Corey Dickerson will open the bottom of the 7th for the Rays. And the first pitch, breaking pitch in there for a strike. Dickerson, then Longoria and Morrison in a 3-run ball game. Juan Minaya in relief of Derek Holland. Pitch popped up. Foul ball left side. That's Frazier down near the bullpen, and he overran it. It's going to be ruled a no play.
Well, just another example, and obviously an odd angle, and Todd Frazier has to go a long way. He gets there, actually gets a little bit too far, reaching back, can't quite get it. These are some tough plays to be made against a tough backdrop in the roof here at Tropicana Field. Frazier, one of the better glove men, just couldn't do it.
Dickerson pops it up again, third base side. Frazier calling for this one, clearing everybody out, and he makes the catch. He was taking complete charge on that one.
Yes, he was. Not about to get burned again. And a doff of the hat for the crowd. Even better.
You know, that showed you how difficult it is. You know, you're a visiting club here from out of the division.
Oh, yeah.
You come here for maybe 3 games. Okay, well, good luck.
It's tough. It's tough because that roof here at Tropicana Field, you take a rubbed up baseball and hold it up to that. It's the same color. And that's what makes it so difficult. When you lose sight of it, it's tough to pick it back up.
Evan Longoria takes a strike. Well, you have to go back to Charlie Finley's idea of playing with orange baseballs. Pop-up foul ball right side. Abreu runs out of room right on top of the dugout. 0-2.
You can't do that. Yeah, I'll take the normal and the casual misplay, the occasional misplay, over the. It's like orange golf balls. Yep. There's just something that's so JV and amateur about orange golf balls. It'd be the same way with orange baseballs.
Yeah. It would be strange, wouldn't it?
Well, you've seen some of the adult beverage league softball tournaments where they get to play, near dusk, and they have the glow-in-the-dark yellow balls.
Yeah.
Come on now.
A little different.
I mean, I know this is underhand softball, but still, even that really, really brings it down a few levels. It's not legit. Ball needs to be white to off-white.
This one is fouled out of play. Did you ever see those? The orange baseballs?
That's made up. No, I haven't seen one.
I have one or two.
Well, then I would love for you to bring it into the
might have to
booth.
bring it in.
Oh, you're going to have to bring it in because we're going to have to snoop cam it.
Yeah, I got to find it first. It's somewhere. It's around. So one of these days, we'll dig it out.
And it came like that. It's not. It's not been altered by you.
Oh no, Charlie Finley's idea was an orange baseball.
It's a bad idea.
So then there were a few manufactured.
Have you ever seen that Saturday Night Live skit from Bad Idea Jeans?
That's
Watch
one of
it.
them.
It should be included. Some of the other bad ideas are pretty good too.
Tapper foul.
Probably shouldn't do a lot of home remodeling and rewiring if you're renting. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, bad idea.
Some of the other ones you'll just have to enjoy on your own time.
That's right. A little tap off the end of the bat, headed to first. Minaya, and he gets there in time to take the toss. So 2 outs in the 7th. Two gone with the bases empty. Now Logan Morrison. It's down and in. Morrison has walked twice, so officially 0 for 1. Scored a run in the 2nd, 2 runs in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th to build a 6-0 lead. And the White Sox got 3 of those back in the 6th inning on a home run by Avisaíl Garcia. Rays have hit 3 home runs. Derek Norris 2 and Borges 1. 2-1 to count on Morrison. Norris and Borges went back to back with home runs in the 4th inning. It's a strike. It's 2-2. On Minaya in relief of Derek Holland. And he strikes out Morrison with the breaking ball. 3 up, 3 down, go the Rays, and we head into the 8th. 6-3 Tampa Bay. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, the Oakland Athletics will come calling for a 4-game series over the weekend, including Saturday's doubleheader, led by Chris Davis, his 17 home runs, Yonder Alonso with 16, and Ryan Healy with 13 home runs. They are once again the swinging A's.
Oh, and here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Alex Cobb will have an interview with him, and then D. Wayne will be breaking down his guy, Rajai Davis.
Did we agree to that?
I think I think that it just, it kind of took on a life of its own. You're the only guy that's capable of breaking down Rajai Davis, I think.
Ryan Stanek in the game now.
All I know is I hope to have a part in that pregame show tomorrow, and I will be listening attentively at everything else that's going on, especially your breakdown. Or maybe you just take over my segment for the breakdown.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure the pregame's big enough for both of us.
It's definitely not.
Now Brayu kind of limping down that first base line on the chopper to Beckham. And that's not a good sign for the White Sox.
Man, not at all. Ginger. Let's see what happens here. That ball popped down and.
Ooh, that's a little step on the bat.
Right there.
Twice.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
And that, I think the left ankle got the worst of that stepping on the bat.
No question.
Avisario Garcia misses that 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
That was a dart. I mean, that was a dart. And we know that he's a triple-digit guy, but for whatever reason, this ball just jumps. Wouldn't that be fun?
Hear the sizzle
from up here.
Ground ball. That's going to be out of Longoria's reach into left. So a base hit.
What's that tell you about big league hitting? 100 miles an hour. I mean, it is on you so quickly, but if they know it's coming, that pitch, the location missed, and Garcia is able to pull it over hard enough in the hole to get it by Longoria and Beckham. And this guy will be hunting heat too.
Todd Frazier. Hits it foul down toward the bullpen. Souvenir for that young man.
How about pulling 100 miles an hour foul?
You start very early.
I mean, like now.
And that's a strike. 2. Odorizzi worked 6 2/3. Hunter got the last out in the 7th, and now it's Ryan Stanek. Too wide this time. Tim Anderson, the shortstop, is on deck. You know, you think about it, last night the Rays got that great lift from Jacob Faria. They beat the White Sox 3-1. Even in the series, you're at home. There's the pressure to win a series against this club here at the Trop. Try to get back to 500. You build a 6-run lead. Now it's 6-3. Just tells you you can't take anything for granted at any time in this game. This one up and off the mitt of Norris. Down to second base goes Garcia. And it's a 2-2 count.
Too much heat, too much height. So a pass ball charged to Norris on that
99-mile-per-hour fastball up. Two. And a long one to left. That ball right down the line and hits the foul pole. 99 on the gun and a 2-run home run for Frazier. And now it's 6-5. Talk about not taking anything for granted. Frazier hits his 10th home run of the year. And it's a 1-run game in the 8th.
Todd Frazier knew what he was going to be getting, and 99, 100 miles an hour, if you anticipate it. You've seen him hit a number of these fastballs and actually pull them foul, and this one able to just keep fair. Todd Frazier all over that heater, and the White Sox have closed to within 1.
Jim Hickey to the mound. Alex Colomé up in the Rays bullpen now. He has just now started to throw. So Hickey will take as much time as they will give him out there on the mound. Amari out to break up the conversation. So it's a 1-run game. And Tim Anderson, who is the shortstop up here now against Stanek. It's a ball, a slider. Fastball foul back. Three-run home run by Garcia, 2-run home run by Frazier, and it's a 1-run game. Ground ball fair by the bag and up the left field line. Extra bases for Anderson. He'll stop at second as Rasmus plays the ball back in. And the White Sox have the potential tying run in scoring position with 1 out in the 8th.
Tim Anderson, this was a slider. You can see that the red dot right in the middle, a slider that didn't do much, stayed in the middle of the plate, and Anderson able to roll it over and get it right up the line by Longoria, who is almost even with the bag. Okay, that's enough.
Here's Sanchez. He takes a fastball for strike 1. Upstairs, 1-1. And home run hit by Frazier, the second given up by Stanek. Matt Holliday hit the other one, and that came on a fastball at 100 that Holliday hit out. Runner goes, and there will be no throw. A stolen base for Anderson, who's now at third with only 1 out.
Boy, speed to burn. And Derek Norris doesn't even bother with the throw. I don't know if he could get the ball out of his glove or just realized they weren't going to be able to get him. But boy, that really complicates things, and now the Rays have to come with the infield in. Yeah, he just was never able to get a good handle on that ball.
Pitch is wide. It's 3-1. Hickey checking with the bullpen with Colomé throwing. And this one down to second, and a nice pickup there by the rookie Daniel Robertson. Boy, a good play there with the infield end. And Anderson in third. A fine play by Robertson on that pick.
Boy, very fortunate. I mean, that ball's ripped, and it's a backhand. It's a do or die type situation, bringing those guys up that close because your range is severely limited. And a nice job, hand-eye coordination. Daniel Robertson continues to impress defensively.
So the Rays will make a pitching change. In comes Alex Colomé. The fourth Rays pitcher with a man at third and 2 outs. And Kevin Smith will be lifted for Omar Narvaez, hitting from the left side, and the pitch to him just missed. 1 ball, no strikes. Our pinch a penny pinch hitter. Narvaez hitting .258. He caught the first game of this series. Strokes it up the right side, foul. It's 1-1.
Well, here's what Alex Colomé has done since May the 1st. Perfect record. More importantly than that, you look at the saves. 11 out of 11. ERA 1.17. Opponent's average. I mean, up and down the line, Alex Colomé has been outstanding over the past month and some change. Perfect, as a matter of fact.
And a fly ball short left. Rasmus is there to make the catch, and the Rays maintain the lead. 2 runs on the home run by Frazier. 6-5 Tampa Bay.
After tonight's game, we have our post-game show presented by WB Mason. Hear from Rays manager Kevin Cash, as well as player interviews. We'll also get you an injury update on Rays center fielder Kevin Kiermaier. But first, it's back up to Dwayne and BA, guys.
All right, thank you. We'll look forward to the post game here. The Rays come in to hit in the bottom of the 8th. Rays up by a run. Gregory Infante is the new pitcher. And Narvaez, after pinch hitting, stays on to do the catching. And Tim Beckham will lead it off. Beckham, so far tonight, with a walk and a single. Grounded into a double play, and he shoots this one into left. That ball is going to be caught by Garcia. A line drive caught by the left fielder.
Well struck. Not very well placed. Can't always control that, but Tim Beckham again making solid contact, but this time to no avail. The Rays would love to grab a run or two here and give themselves a little bit of breathing room. Chicago came roaring all the way back and had a great opportunity there. You start to think about that backhand by Daniel Robertson, and then Colomé getting the fly out to left. Runner on third.
Well, there's Rasmus taking a big rip at a fastball at 96, and he fouled it back. Rasmus capable of giving the Rays another run with one swing of the bat. Facing the hard-throwing Infante, who was on for 2/3 of an inning last night, struck out Beckham and Robertson. And there's the fastball at 96 up. 0-2. There's a drive. High, deep, and gone. Long home run off the bat of Rasmus on an 0-2 pitch. He turned that one around, and the Rays do get that run. Now they're up by 2. Big home run there to make it 7-5.
Well, he's never going to cut down the swing, and he gets a fastball here in close to him at 97. Looking to lift. I'll tell you what, that was a tape measure blast by Colby Rasmus. Almost got back wall.
Daniel Robertson, who made that fine play on the ball hit by Sanchez in the top of the inning. Strike, and the count is 1-1. Not only does that give the Rays an extra run, now a 2-run lead, but tends to turn the psychology of the game around here in the last inning or two.
No doubt about it. I mean, the White Sox have battled back all game long. They get to 6-5. You know, that dugout's buzzing right now. We got them on their heels, and then all of a sudden, that's a demoralizing shot. It's a demoralizing shot, and Alex Colomé, with him on the mound, you've got to feel good, but still some baseball left to play.
Robertson shoots this one down the right side, foul, slicing out of play. 2-2. Robertson had a base hit and a run scored in the 4th inning. Now ball 3. The Rays have hit 4 home runs tonight. They've needed them all. Norris, who's on deck, has hit 2. And Robertson, a big cut and a miss. Missed the fastball. 2 gone. Tampa Bay Rays baseball presented by Jeep. Well, Derek Norris, 2 for 3, both hits home runs. And if he's going to hit a third one, he's going to have to start early. Infante up around 96 on most of his pitches, 95 with that one. You can get it up there in a hurry.
And you got a good breaking ball on top of it.
One and one.
That pitch almost seemed like it had some cutting action to it. Take a look at Derek Norris tonight. A couple of home runs, gets an off-speed delivery right there, just hung out over the plate. And then, boy, another one in a 2-0 count. Center cut. See ya.
Two balls and a strike. He's up 3-1. Fastball missed away. Colomé came on, got the last out in the 8th. And there's ball 4. Norris draws the base on balls. So Peter Borges will be the hitter. And a good night for him on the Napa know-how. He did it with the throw to deny the White Sox a run early. That was in the 3rd. And then in the 4th inning, connected for that long home run down in the count 0-2.
A +2 player tonight. It's all about being a plus-minus guy. You save one with the arm, and then you add one with the bat. It's a pretty good night.
Yep.
Right off the DL, too.
Off the DL, he singled his first time up, stole a base, scored,
yeah,
and hit the long home run.
You go
made
plus
the play
3?
to the left.
Plus
sure.
3?
Yeah, why not?
Well, pretty nice debut, post-DL debut.
Got that tennis elbow to tame down a little bit. Frazier's going to take this ground ball to second for the force to retire the side. Rays get a run on the home run by Rasmus. 7-5 Tampa Bay. On to the ninth inning we go. An extra run put on the board on one swing of the bat from Colby Rasmus. So the Rays carry a 7-5 lead into the ninth inning. Willie Garcia due up, but he's going to be lifted, and Luori Garcia will pinch hit for him. Willie Garcia had a double in 3 at-bats, and now he's lifted.
They're trying to find the right Garcia, Dwayne.
Well, they've got 3 of them, so their odds are better than most. 1 strike to count to Garcia.
Well, there's another one. Avi having himself a heck of a year.
Yep. One ball, 1 strike. Engel due next, and then Cabrera. Two and one. Rays have been out hit 11-10, and they lead 7-5. Shot the other way on the fastball, out of play. It's 2-2. The 2-2. The count's going to go full. Garcia started last night. Luori and singled and walked, had a steal and a caught stealing. He's on base twice in the game here on Tuesday. Pinch hitting tonight to open the ninth, and has run the count full. Yep, struck him out swinging on the fastball. Colomé picks up the strikeout, his first, the 9th for Rays pitching. Powered it right by him.
Yes, he did. Didn't flinch either. Full count. Last thing you want to do is obviously walk the leadoff man, and he makes a perfect pitch with the fastball right to the outside corner and gets the swing and a miss. Big leg kick there from Garcia, and just a little tardy on that heater from Alex.
Here's Engel. Shortens on the bat, takes the pitch a bit high. There's a strike. It's 1-1. Nationals beat Baltimore. 1-2 the count on Engel. It was a 6-1 final. And the Yankees in the bottom of the 8th batting, leading Boston 8-1. Tapper foul off to the left of the plate. Holds the count right there at 1-2. Engel has been on twice. Couple of steals. Colomé's 1-2 in on him, and he pops him up. That's Morrison. 2 gone. Fastball in, gets Engel.
Yeah, you know what? He got him reaching. That was the great thing. Got the swing and a miss on the little cutter slider. Goes right back out there. Gets him leaning out over the plate. And then surprises him with a well-placed heater in. Really tied him up. That's what we talk about with Alex Colomé. A smart pitcher. Look at this. Just perfectly located. And look at Engel's swing. Trying to get to that pitch. Just all tied up. Awkward swing. And a soft little pop up to first base. Great job of sequencing there by the Rays closer.
Melky Cabrera. Base is empty, 2 outs. Cabrera takes the pitch down. This ended here. Abreu's on deck.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. No use.
Ground ball headed toward the middle. Beckham can't get there, knocks it down, picked up by Robertson. And so Abreu will get to the plate on the 2-out base hit by Cabrera. Put it into play, right spot.
He did, and you know, he gets it over the head of Colomé. That's number 1. Right there, he can't reach it. Now it's going to be a tough play for Beckham. Even if he gets that, he's got to spin and throw accurately. Difficult to ask. Just comes up on him a little bit. And now you have to go to work.
Jose Abreu singled and scored in the 6th. He's 1 for 4 tonight. 1 of 5 with 3 strikeouts against Colomé. Colomé got him last night on a high fly ball to center. And he takes a pitch with Cabrera moving up to second.
Well, this is when Colomé started to go after. Well, Melky Cabrera led off last night with a base hit. And then it was Abreu, Garcia, and Frazier. And Colomé went right after them with a steady diet of sliders and was able to get out of that inning and preserve the win.
Swing and a miss. Did it again right there.
Yeah, well, you know what? Here's the thing. Abreu can know it's coming. If Colomé puts it there, there's nothing you're going to do about it. Well, at the very end, now it starts to make its move, and it's too late. You keep it down. That's the Colomé was so good last night with that pitch down, down, down. And now with an 0-2 count, expand down. Force Abreu to become a disciplined hitter.
An 0-2 count on the Chicago Slugger. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, he took it down. That's the luxury that you can afford in an 0-2 count. A nice block back there by Norris. 1 more pitch to the fringes away from ending this and putting it in the Rays win column.
Rays trying to get back to the 500 mark. The 1-2 and a tapper foul. 1 more out to get. Melky Cabrera at second. A 1-2 count on Jose Abreu. And he got him. He struck him out. He went to the slider, and this game is over. Rays win it 7-5. They take the series from the White Sox 2-1 and get back to the 500 mark at 31-31. Jake Odorizzi will get the win. He is 4-3. And a save for Colomé, number 17. Holland, the losing pitcher, his record drops to 4-6. Here's the final pitch.
Well, he takes that slider and takes it just a little further, expands You know, Brewers wants to swing the bat. He wants to tie this game up and do some damage. Colome just continued to be able to put that pitch into a good spot, the best spot there at the end to get the swing and a miss in the win.
So the Rays are winners 4. Brian Anderson and Alex Cordry, Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast. Rays Live, the post game is next.